Alright everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is your Jordan Report, and I am your host, Robert Jordan. Everyone, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Alright, I did a video, I think about a week ago, about Nancy Pelosi's wealth. You know, she was worth a minimum of $120 million. But I didn't go deeply into her family connections. And so this is what this video is about. It's going to be a short video. I try and keep these things as short as possible. I only have one article and one video about Gavin Newsom and Pelosi and how all the families are mixed together in California. Okay, now here we go. Gavin Newsom will be the first Democrat in more than a century to succeed another Democrat as governor, and the succession also marks a big generational transition in California politics. This was dated January the 6th, 2019. So I guess this was right after he was elected. A long dominant geriatric quartet from the San Francisco Bay Area, Governor Jerry Brown, Senators Dianne Feinstein and Barbara Boxer, and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, has been slowly ceding power to younger political strivers. Moreover, Newsom is succeeding someone who could be considered his quasi-uncle. Since his inauguration continues, the decade-long saga of four San Francisco's family, intertwined by blood, by marriage, by money, by culture, and of course by politics. The Browns, the Newsoms, the Pelosis, and the Gettys. The connections date back at least 80 years to when Jerry Brown's father, Pat Brown, ran for San Francisco District Attorney, losing in 1939, but winning in 1943 with the help of his close friend and Gavin Newsom's grandfather, businessman William Newsom. I got a video that's better, that has to show you all the charts to the family, so just hang around to the end. He has a better explanation than this article. Fast forward 2 decades. Governor Pat Brown administration developed Squaw Valley for the 1960s Winter Olympics, and afterwards awarded a concession to operate it to William Newsom and his partner John Pelosi. One of the Pelosi's sons, Paul, married Nancy D'Alessandro, who went into politics and had now reclaimed speakership of the House of Representatives. Another Pelosi son married William Newsom's daughter, Barbara. Until they divorced, that made Nancy Pelosi something like an aunt by marriage to Gavin Newsom. Nancy Pelosi's brother-in-law was Gavin Newsom's uncle. Nancy Pelosi's brother-in-law was Gavin Newsom's uncle. The Squaw Valley concession was controversial at the time and created something of a rupture between the two old friends. William Newsom wanted to make significant improvements to the ski complex, including a convention center, but Brown's Department of Parks and Recreation balked. Newsom and his son, an attorney also named William, held a series of contentious meetings with officials over the issue. An 8-page memo about the 1966 meeting from the Department of Director, Fred Jones, buried in Pat Brown's archives, described the Newsoms as being embittered and the senior Newsom threatening to hurt the governor politically, as Brown ran for a 3rd term that year against Ronald Reagan. Pat Brown's bid for a 3rd term failed, and the Reagan administration later bought out the Newsom concession. But the Brown-Newsom connection continued as Brown's son, Jerry, reclaimed the governorship in 1974. He appointed the younger William Newsom, a personal friend and Gavin's father, to a Placer County judgeship in 1975, and 3 years later to the State Court of Appeal. Justice Newsom, who died a few weeks ago, had been an attorney for oil magnate J.Paul Getty, most famously delivering $3 million to Italian kidnappers of Getty's grandson in 1973. While serving on the appellate bench in the 1980s, he helped Getty's son Gordon secure a change in the state trust that allowed him to claim a share of a multi-heir trust. After Newsom retired from the bench in 1995, he became an administrator of Gordon Getty's own trust, telling one interviewer, "I make my living work for Gordon Getty." The trust provided seed money for the Plum Jack chain of restaurants and wine shop that Newsom's son, Gavin, and Gordon Getty's son Billy developed being in the Squaw Valley Hotel. Gavin had been informally adopted by the Gettys after his parents' divorce, returning a similar favor that the Newsom's family had done for a young Gordon Getty many years earlier. Newsom's plump jack business, named for an opera that Gordon Getty wrote, led to a career in San Francisco politics, a stint as mayor, the lieutenant governorship, and now to the governorship succeeding his father's old friend. He's keeping it all in the extended family. This is who runs California, people. For those who don't know that, people in California may know this, but I know the people outside of California would know this. But anyway, I'm going to show you this video, and this guy even put it together more concise. It's a better video than what I just wrote you.
Pat Brown's father, Edmund Joseph Brown, was known for running scams and gambling operations in San Francisco. With the help of businessman William Newsom II, Pat Brown became governor of California for 2 terms. During his governorship, he awarded the Squaw Valley concession contract to William Newsom III and his partner, John Pelosi. The deal was criticized for the state of California paying for everything and getting nothing. William Newsom III grew up with the governor's son, Jerry, who was training to be a Jesuit priest. John Pelosi's son, Paul, married Nancy D'Alessandro, daughter of Thomas D'Alessandro Jr., who was known for smuggling heroin into the U.S. with Lucky Luciano and the Baltimore Mafia. John Pelosi's son, Ron, married William Newsom's daughter, Barbara. Over ongoing disputes about the Squaw Valley concession, William Newsom Sr. threatened to hurt the governor politically, just as Governor Brown was running for a 3rd term against Ronald Reagan. He lost. But 8 years later, the former governor's Jesuit son, Jerry, reclaimed the governorship in 1974. He appointed William Newsom III to a Placer County judgeship in 1975, and 3 years later to the State Court of Appeal. William Newsom was an attorney for oil magnate J.Paul Getty, named in the 1966 Guinness Book of World Records as the world's richest private citizen. And while serving on the appellate bench in the 1980s, he helped Getty's son, Gordon, secure a change in state trust law that allowed him to claim his share of a multi-heir trust. After Newsom retired from the bench, he became administrator of the Getty Trust and provided seed money for his son Gavin Newsom, Nancy Pelosi's nephew, to start the plump jack business that led to a career in San Francisco politics as mayor of San Francisco and lieutenant governor of the state of California. Gavin Newsom was informally adopted by the Gettys after his parents divorced, and recently succeeded family friend Jerry Brown to be the current governor of California. For 80 years, these 4 families have ruled over the state of California politically. And with the help of Kamala Harris, Maxine Waters, Adam Schiff, and Dianne Feinstein, California's uncontrollable state government spending has amounted to over $2 trillion in debt and the highest tax rates in the country. The homelessness population is on the rise so much that a typhus outbreak has reached epidemic levels. Thousands of needles from illicit drugs litter the streets. They have made California a sanctuary state. They have been steadily chiseling away at the Second Amendment. They have passed laws for mandatory vaccinations, and they continue to aggressively oppose our president on every front. On October 1st, 2016, right before Donald Trump won the election, President Obama transferred full control of the internet from the U.S. government to an independent California nonprofit organization. In a cyber war scenario, the U.S. government may not have control over the internet. Even if it secures military and government domains and IP addresses, the targets in cyber warfare are likely to be civilian, and the U.S. government requires private sector infrastructure to operate. Since the internet underpins our computer systems, electrical grids, communication systems, and other critical infrastructure, our entire civilian society could be at risk. Who controls California? Who controls the four families? What is a republic? For newswars.com, this is Greg Reese.
All right, now we know who controls California. We know who ran it into the ground. And what's happening is the place is being looted, people. That's why Californians went from rich to poor. It's like the mafias. When the mafias get control of a business, they get all the bank loans they can get on it. They run up all the credit cards. And then they set the place on fire and claim the insurance money. That's what's happening to California.